Los Angeles Clippers got some great news yesterday. They signed Paul George to an extension. It's a 5-year deal, a $200+ million contract. Now, terms of this contract, no one really knows the terms of this contract. I'm pretty sure later on today, or maybe next week or next month, if you like to know the terms of an agreement of a contract, will be laid out for the masses. But I'm pretty sure there's a player option in there, maybe in the second year of that contract. So that's great news for Paul George, because that's pretty much where he wanted to be anyway. And that's even better news for the Clippers. They're on high alert operation, securing the bag. They want to get Paul George signed because they pretty much gave away their future for Paul George. All right, when you talk about their future draft picks. Now, what about everyone's waiting for the other shoe to drop? Well, does this mean that they're going to sign Kawhi Leonard? I'm going to tell you guys, I'm like 99.9% sure that the Clippers are going to re-sign Kawhi Leonard. They're going to do it at the end of the season. Now, as long as nothing chaotic or crazy happen to the Clippers this regular season, which I highly doubt, or there's some turmoil, or maybe there's a fight between Kawhi and Paul George, or management and Kawhi. There's always a percentage of something blowing up in your face, but I just do not see that. And Kawhi Leonard, he's a Los Angeles resident. He's already living in La La Land. I don't foresee him going anywhere else. I definitely don't see him going anywhere else, and he's going to stay a fixture with the Los Angeles Clippers. He's going to be a franchise player for the Clippers, so I wouldn't worry or threat or anything like that. The other shoe is going to bound to drop, and I feel like they're going to make that announcement at the end of the season. Hopefully, they win a championship, and we're just going to have to see. Now, in other NBA news, preseason starts for the NBA. And I want to state this for the record. A lot of people use the preseason to determine whether or not which team is going to make it in the playoffs. And I wouldn't put a lot of thought behind preseason games. There have been several teams that have quote unquote won in the NBA NBA preseason, undefeated teams who haven't even got a loss in the preseason game. How people will sit there and talk about and gloat about these teams, only to find out when the regular season starts and when the playoffs begin, that team is not to be found deep in the playoffs. And a lot of talking heads, a lot of radio heads, they sit up here and they tell you, oh, well, this team did X, Y, and Z, so this team is going to make it. They're going to win the title. And all this is just speculation, because you really don't know what team, who's going to win the NBA title, because you have to play it through in the NBA regular season. The NBA regular season is not a track meet. It's a marathon. It's literally a marathon. When you add the regular season, the postseason, and the finals, it's a marathon, okay? So you have to just let it play out, okay? A lot of people remember last year in the preseason, nobody wasn't talking about the Miami Heat. And guess what? The Miami Heat was in the finals with the Los Angeles Lakers. So not a lot of people wasn't even talking about the Los Angeles Lakers, okay? Everybody's going to automatically, any team LeBron's own, they're going to pencil them in as maybe one of the teams that could win the title. But no one was 1,000% behind the Lakers winning the title. Okay, a lot of people, including myself, suggested it, but we wasn't 1,000% sure that they was going to win the title. And no one knew that the Heat was going to be representing the East in the NBA Finals. So you can't really go by what you see in the preseason. A lot of these preseason games, the stars are not even going to be in these preseason games, and they're not even going to show their full offensive strategy. You might see 2 or 5%, and I'm being very generous on that percentage. But you have to just wait for these games to play out. Normally, I do it like this. I at least let them play through halfway through the NBA season and that's when I make who I feel like that's going to win the title. And I'm not even 100% sure 100% sure on that thought process. Last year, I said the Lakers were going to win it, and I also said the Clippers were going to win it. All right. And I really felt kind of strongly for Toronto. So and Philadelphia. So, but no, I never had the Heat on my radar. Okay. So, I've been wrong. Everybody's been wrong. It's part of being a human being. But, like I said, the NBA is not a track. The NBA season, the regular season, and the finals, it's not a track meet, folks. It's a marathon. Okay. So you just have to play it out. All right. So, and one more thing on NBA news. A lot of people are talking about LeBron James, LeBron James has been throwing out a lot of, thoughts out there in the interwebs. And one of them was his 2 titles. He considered them his hardest. Okay. And, I'm going to be real with you, be real with you guys. I don't feel like the bubble format could have went either way. You couldn't be in the middle with the bubble. Either you liked it or you hated it, okay? But for it to be rough, for it to be tougher, I don't see that. I really don't see that. I feel like when LeBron, his first title with the Miami Heat, and his first title run, and when they was playing against the Dallas Mavericks, I felt like that one was pretty tough for LeBron James. The one where the Spurs beat LeBron James, I thought that one was pretty tough. And the first title when he was with the Miami Heat, I also thought, I take that lie back. The first title, I believe it was the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think that was pretty easy, even though he had the weight on his shoulders, for say, of all the people talking a lot of mess about LeBron James, Skip Bayless, as well as others, not sure if they was going to win this title. After seeing what they did, the first time around with the Dallas Mavericks, he finally got that weight off his shoulder and he beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. But there have been several examples of LeBron James. I felt like the one with the Golden State Warriors, where he lost it to the Golden State Warriors. Where he won against the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors won against LeBron James. I felt like those were pretty tough. But the bubble format, I just don't see that being extremely tough for one LeBron James. I felt like in the bubble format, and a lot of people said this as well, I think it was really fit and meant for like younger athletes who just came out of, who just started in the NBA, who played a lot of their with college basketball, and they go into these tournaments and then they play on foreign land. I felt like that was meant for like younger players. But I also said that players that have veteran leadership, that has veteran experience, is going to pretty much flourish in the NBA bubble. So to me, I just don't think the bubble format was that tough. Either you liked the bubble format or you hated the bubble format. And a lot of NBA players really did not want to co-sign to this bubble, including one LBJ. Okay, earlier when they were talking about this, they really did not want to do the bubble format thing. And to me, I just don't think the bubble format was that tough for LeBron James. Now, there have been other times in his in his legendary career where he won and lost titles I feel like a lot of those were extremely tough for LeBron James. But I feel like the bubble format was was pretty easy for LeBron James because he surrounded himself with a lot of veteran players who are not going to get spooked out, who's not going to freak out about the bubble. A lot of these veteran players have already established they're married, they got kids, they're really not into the nightlife. They may dabble into it, but they're not really consistent in the nightlife, interacting with different people and things of that nature. I feel like a lot of players like Lou Williams, when he went to the strip club, he just could not get focused in the bubble because it knocked him out of his quote unquote norm. And that's pretty much what he probably does in the regular season when he's in playoffs. And that really demonstrated it was a testament to a lot of the Clippers organization who, Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell, when they believed in the hype and the fool's gold with these players. What Doc Rivers was telling the Clippers organization, they found out firsthand, like, these players are really not that dependable, that you want to put a lot of money on these players, okay? And that's one of the reasons why Montrezl Harrell had to sign with the Lakers, because the Clippers just let him go for nothing. They could have signed him to the Bird contract, but he was such of a defensive nightmare, a defensive liability, and you just could not justify that for a contract extension. You pretty much rewarding a guy who is a defensive liability and didn't get any better with his time with the Clippers. And that's one aspect that Doc Rivers, he should have worked on. And I have seen this trickled in with Doc Rivers when he was the coach of the Boston Celtics. The guy's great with X's and O's. I'm not too sure about development and growth and holding players accountable. Okay, he did not hold that group of players accountable, and that's why he's no longer the coach for the Los Angeles Clippers. But when he had Blake Griffin, when he had Chris Paul, when he had Jordan, when he had those players, he couldn't really, those players did not evolve. They just stayed consistent. And that's why those players are no longer with the organization. And then the next man up was going to be Doc Rivers. He got his own players. And those players did not get better. Okay, they did not develop better. Okay, and that's why he's not the coach there. That's why Montrezl Harrell is with the Lakers, and Lou Williams is always in trade talks. Okay, they would love to trade away Lou Williams. All right, because they already see what they got out of these players that Doc Rivers co-signed to the organization. Okay, Steve Ballmer and them, they finally realized you need stars to win titles. And Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, that's a good fixture there, and you can just build around those two guys. So, yeah, that's all I got. I made this video way too long. I didn't know I was going to talk about this portion right here, but yeah, that's all I got, guys. Tell me what you think, and I will see you guys on the next video. Deuces.